Chris ranks these quarterbacks as if they're all playing for the same team with the same supporting cast and the same coaches. This isn't what situation they're in. This is just the actual quarterback. You drop him into a scenario. You drop all of them into the same scenario. This is how they would be ranked. That is the disclaimer the lawyers required us, no, they didn't, to say that. And with that said, here we go. This is the backup plus tier.
Yeah.
Jarrett Stidham, the guy that, was good enough to get Russell Wilson sent to the bench last year in Denver.
That's right. Listen here, Jarrett Stidham has starting quarterback traits and skills, right? I think the biggest knock on him is just that he hasn't got a chance to consistently play. But there's something there with Jarrett Stidham. Again, two of the best offensive coaches in football over the last 20 years made it a priority as soon as they got a job to sign Jarrett Stidham. Josh McDaniels with the Raiders, Sean Payton with the Denver Broncos, right? He's a good athlete, as you see right here. He's got very good feet in the pocket to hop around, move, and he runs better than you think. And the arm is live, just as you're watching there. He has an NFL starting quarterback arm. He does. He's got a lot of the physical tools you'd like for an NFL starting quarterback, right? So that's all what's really good. He is quick in the pocket, right? Negatives, yeah, like I talked about, it's really just experience. His arm can get a little long at times, and it can lead to the ball being just a hair inaccurate, but it's nitpicky. I think really when it comes down to it, I mean, this is a guy that I look at to go, if it ever just falls right for him and he can get a sustained period of time of play with a team and a pretty good coach, I think he has the potential and the chance to establish himself as maybe an NFL starter. It just hasn't quite worked out for him yet in his career. Either way, as we know by the way they're paying him and everything there, he's definitely one of the best backups in all of football.
He's the guy who the Raiders turned to when they benched Derek Carr for financial reasons to ensure that he wouldn't suffer an injury down the stretch. They would have been strapped with $40 million fully guaranteed if they had him get an injury and he couldn't have passed a physical by early February. So he played a couple of games and looked pretty good.
Threw for 350 yards against the 49ers, remember?
I was surprised there wasn't more interest in Jarrett Stidham as a free agent last year when the Broncos got him for the 2-year, $10 million contract. And now he's the safety valve in the event that Bo Nix isn't ready to go. But by all appearances, they're going to do everything they can to get Bo Nix ready to go.
Right.
And Stidham will continue to have a nice career as a backup. Maybe he'll stay in Denver. Maybe he'll go somewhere else. Maybe he'll get a chance to play again at some point when somebody benches the starter for non-football reasons. But yeah, there's plenty of guys that if you need them to go out and play, they can get it together and they can play. And he's played well enough to make it to number 40 on your list. Let's turn to number 39. Same division, different team. A guy who has been around. He's played a lot, and he played well enough last year to almost take the Colts to the postseason. It came down to Week 18, Saturday night, Texans-Colts. Gardner Minshew. Minshew at number 39. I actually thought he would have been a little higher.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I thought about you when I was doing this.
Minshew.
I hear you. No, listen, he's tough. He really is. He's tough in a lot of ways. And you want to root for him. There's no doubt about that, right? As they put on the graphic there, little ass boy, as Max Crosby calls him now in the locker room. But first off, he is infectious as a leader and a guy you want to rally around, right? There's definitely tangible value to that and what Gardner Minshew brings to the table in that department. And then the other thing is he knows how to play quarterback. He's got great feel, great instincts. That goes inside the pocket, outside the pocket, like you're talking about. He's scrappy. He's tough. There's no doubt about that. He has the capability of making all throws on the football field, but the problem is, can he do it consistently? That's the problem, Mike. When I go back and dive into him, you like a lot of what he does in the game. But when you start to really break him down, you start to realize in every game, even the good ones, like when you go, well, this is the best game of his year or whatever, there is a solid amount of plays where you just go, oh, he's got to hit that throw. He's got to make that play, right? And I think that's the thing that makes me put him at 39 is the fact that, again, he does some good things and all of that, but there are some big plays and things that are there to be had that are get left on the field with Gardner Minshew. And I know I said that to you last year a little bit towards the end of the year, right? He's the perfect backup, the perfect bridge quarterback if you're going to draft somebody that way. And hey, maybe he can learn to play more consistent with the power throws, the explosive throws, to where he can control that, and maybe that's what can make him be a consistent starter in the NFL. But that's the big thing. It's not a great arm. It's not a wow arm. There's throws and big throws at that left on the field a little too much. And then, as we know, as tough as he is smaller. And he can play small in the pocket at times too. Those would be my biggest negatives about him. But, man, he's hard not to root for because he's so gutsy and gritty. And just, the way he puts himself on the line week in and week out, that's certainly respectable.
He was thrust into the fray week 1 of his rookie season with the Jaguars. 6th-round pick out of Washington State. Nick Foles breaks a collarbone. In comes Gardner Minshew, played most of 2019, all of 2020, but the Jaguars were bad enough that they got the first overall pick. In comes Trevor Lawrence. Out goes Gardner Minshew. His teammates love him wherever he goes.
Yes.
And I think the Raiders are going to be a perfect spot for him. He's going to be exactly what they need if he wins the starting job. Aiden O'Connell's getting the first crack. So we'll see. It's going to be O'Connell or Minshew. Obviously, they didn't draft a guy in round 1 because they were all gone by the time the Raiders were on the clock at number 13. Let's go ahead and take a break. Number 38 on the Chris Sims Top 40 Quarterback Countdown for 2024 is next. Continue on the backup plus tier. Coming in at number 38, the guy the Steelers threw overboard after only 2 seasons as part of their deconstruction of the entire quarterback depth chart. Kenny Pickett, the backup to Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia, comes in at number 38. He was 25 last year, 39 as a rookie. So it's a 13-spot fall for a guy who, it's basically meat and potatoes. There's nothing spectacular. And it's not really expensive meat. And the potatoes might be from a box, but that's kind of what he is as a quarterback.
That's the way to see it. You're almost stealing the way I was going to say. You put it in a different way, but one of my headline would be QB who has all the tools, no weakness, but no glaring strength at all either. Right? That's the problem. There's no tangible thing to look at and go, wait, he's the 20th pick of the draft. Let's build around this. He's amazing at that, and we'll go from there. Right? Now, there is good. There definitely is. But, yeah, again, we got a lot of good quarterbacks in football right now. Some of the young ones from last year, they move up, right? We got 6 that came in the draft. 6 that came out in the draft. They're all good. I think they're good. I think they're better than Kenny Pickett. I'm sorry. Yeah, right? At least 5 of them, that's for sure, I'm going to say. All right, so that's the thing. But, the biggest problem with him, I think more than anything, is like you said, there's not a wow factor. You want that as a first-round starting quarterback, right? He is not an aggressive enough decision maker, and he is not a good enough thrower on the big throws that a big-time NFL quarterback needs to make and hit. That's the big thing. He cannot just control his fastball, let's say on an out route on 3rd and 8, and the coverage is tight. The ball's all over the place when he really wants to go, okay, wait, I got to, and get it in there, right? I got no room for error, but I still got to throw it hard and put it in the spot I want it. The ball can be everywhere, let alone there's to something you kind of said, Mike, not a natural feel for when big plays and things of that are going to present itself. He's too much of a little bit of a robot of the quarterback position, right? If there's a play to be had and it's in rhythm and it's, 5 steps and 1 hitch and it's just plain as day and, hey, the tight end's going down the middle or something, hey, he'll hit that. But there's so many plays that I look at and go, wait, it's 5 steps, 1 hitch. Like, hey, this coverage, this guy's about to be wide open. Take another hitch. Pat the ball for a second. It's about to be a 40-yard completion. Instead, it's right to a check down or an easy throw or something underneath. And that, to me, is where there's just way too many plays and throws and things being left on the board with Kenny Pickett. No doubt. So that's the one thing that really bothers me, the lack of aggressive mindset and then not letting big plays develop down the field, right? That is the big thing, let alone when there are some big plays there to be had and it's not wide open. It's less than for starting quarterback type of play or first-round draft pick type of play that you would expect at that position.
Yeah, and, hey, it took a lot for the Steelers, I believe, to admit that because we both would have guessed they'd be inclined to ride it out.
Yeah.
We invested a first-round pick in this guy.
Right.
Let's see what his ceiling is. They decided after 2 years, we've seen his ceiling. And he's not going to bust through it, and he's not going to magically transform into a better quarterback. We talked yesterday about how Jared Goff transformed into a better version of himself after he got disrespected by the Rams and traded to the Lions. I don't see that kind of change for Pickett, in part because he's not going to play unless Jalen Hurts is injured.
No, I agreed, right? And you know, again, can he do a good job in Philadelphia if he gets in and, you know, regain some confidence and some mojo? Sure. But he's as it is right now, he's the perfect backup because he's not going to threaten really any starter in football that's going to be like, oh, whoa, holy cow, what is he doing out there? Oh, my gosh, this is good. That is great, right? And, again, he doesn't make eye-popping wow plays or throws anyways. And then you take that to he has no arm angles. There's no sidearm. He's not very good off the back foot and just flicking the ball or doing any of that, right? And he's a high-effort thrower. You know, that's the other thing, too, and he needs space. You know, as you went back and watched that, those are the things that bother me a little bit. You know, he's got a little bit of a windup. He wants to step into it. He throws an 8-yard out route, and it's like, damn, did he throw it as hard as he could? Right? And that's not a good thing because the really strong-arm good quarterbacks can throw at 70%, and we still go, holy cow, he threw a laser on that type of throw, and it was effortless. So, yeah, those are things that, you know, Kenny Pickett's going to certainly have to work on and rebuild himself with.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.